Alright, so I'm here in Chiclayo, Peru now. I've been here for approximately just about 3 weeks, and I'm going to be heading back to the U.S. soon. Back to Ecuador to fly back to the U.S. And while I'm still here, I wanted to record what happened to me, or about how I got here to Peru, because it was definitely a story. And some really unexpected things happened. So I thought this is actually my third recording of this video. I tried recording it, part of the story, twice in Ecuador because some stuff happened there, but then some more stuff happened afterwards, so I wanted to make a third and final version. So I have a girlfriend, Emmy. She's Peruvian. I met her online. Came here to Peru January of this year, 2020, but now it's November. I came here again in October just to meet with her again. The original plan, simply fly to Peru, no problem. COVID happened. You can't fly to Peru anymore unless you have a, actually, probably back in September I had flights to come here. They got canceled because of COVID, but anyway, now we're in October again. Can't come to Peru unless you have a negative test result that's no older than 3 days. So if you get a test Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have to be in Peru by Thursday. But by Thursday, you finally get the result, if you're lucky, in the U.S. Then you're supposed to get on a plane that same day? No, so that wasn't an option. So now, I'm not going to Peru again, just like in September, because I had bought another set of tickets in September. But me and Emmy are talking about this. To get into Ecuador, you need a negative test result that's no older than 10 days. That is possible. But Ecuador is in Peru. Emmy has a job in Peru. She can't leave Peru for like 3 weeks or a week or two while I'm visiting her. So I need to get to Peru. And there's a way. Because Emmy says she has a friend who's married to a cop, and this cop has a friend who's on the border between Ecuador and Peru, and that cop says he can get me in. How? I don't know. I'm trying to be legal about this thing, get these tests, but Emmy just comes up and says, hey, there's a cop says he can get you in. I don't ask if it's legal. I'm just like, at that point, we're both just like, hey, we haven't seen each other in 9 months. We're just going to give it a shot, I guess. So that's the plan. A cop's going to get me into Peru. That's all we know. That's all I know. So I fly Cincinnati, Fort Lauderdale. Fine. Then I'm going to fly Fort Lauderdale to Guayaquil, Ecuador. Fine, except for some white lady and black lady arguing at the airport bar. Fine. I arrive in Ecuador, in the city of Guayaquil, really late at night or really early, I'm not sure. While I'm on the flight to Ecuador, I'm thinking to myself about what I'm going to say to the immigration officers, because they're going to say, why are you here? Granted, this is the middle of COVID, we're all wearing our face masks. And I'm going to be like, oh, I'm just visiting tourism in the middle of a pandemic. They're like, oh, really? Okay. Where are you going in Ecuador? I have no answer because I don't know anything about Ecuador because I only plan to go to Peru. So I have no answer. So I'm just going to look there like an idiot, stand there looking like an idiot, and this immigration person is going to be like, oh, this guy's suspicious. We're going to ask him some more questions and search his bag. In my bag, I have gifts for Emmy and like 2 phones, 3 phones in addition to my own, and just things don't make sense. The luggage I have, more questions, more. So I have to I'm coming up with all these scenarios in my mind on the plane before I get to Ecuador about what I'm going to say. I can't remember what I settled on, but I think it's like pretty much the truth. Oh, I'm here visiting my girlfriend. And if, but I have the 2 Peruvian stamps on my passport, and guys can be like, oh, is she Ecuadorian? No. Oh, she's Peruvian, huh? How are you going to get to Peru? But so all these complicated scenarios. Anyway, I get to, I'm going to look at my notes here. So I land, I go to the immigration people. First, they require my COVID test. I hand them the printout. I don't think they even looked at it. I feel like I could have handed them a paper with crayon drawings on it, and they would have accepted it. And I went through all that trouble to get tested twice for these things. And then I go to the immigration people, and this dude, he's like, "Oh, why are you here?" I'm like, no, yes. He's like, "Are you here for tourism?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay," stamps it, and lets me go. No problems whatsoever, and here I am overthinking all this. So, immigration's no problem. All right, now that I'm in the Ecuadorian airport in Guayaquil, I need to get a SIM card. Get a SIM card, no problem. I need to get to the bus station because I'm going to take a bus from Guayaquil to Huaquis, something Ecuador, which is on the border of Ecuador and Peru. So I'm going to do travel through Ecuador on a bus. Get in an Uber, takes me to the bus station. On the bus station website, they have it listed that these buses are going to leave all through the night. Like every 2 hours, there's a bus leaving where I'm at, going to the place I want to go. So no problem. And I think I get in this Uber. It's dark. It's like between 11 p.m. and like 3 a.m. It's just sometime in there. So get the Uber, go to the bus station. The Uber driver stops at the end of some road. I can see the bus station, the buildings, a way off. And he messages me in Spanish, or I tell him, yo hablo no español. I don't speak Spanish, but I have my phone and I'm translating stuff. And he messages on his phone that cars can't get closer to the bus station this late at night, that I have to walk. He points down some dark, abandoned road, empty road. He's like, "Go down there and take a left." But I can see the bus station, so it's like across some fenced-in area. So I'm like, all right, fine, good enough. But granted, enemy's freaking out because everyone's freaking out because, you're in a different Hispanic country. Obviously, it's a third world country, and there are people trying to kill you and rob you everywhere. No, not really. So anyway, I get out of this Uber, go down this dark road with my 2 backpacks, foreign country, whatever. I'm walking by the bus station, searching for the entrance. I see like this family or two just sleeping on the ground. I don't know if they're probably just waiting for a bus too, but it just looked like homeless people, but probably not. I think they were together. Anyway, so I found the entrance, those glass sliding doors that open up for you, motion detected. Cool. Walk up to the doors, they don't open. There's like a doorman there and like 4 or 5, I don't know, less than 10 taxi drivers just waiting to pick people up, and they're like, taxi, taxi. I'm like, no. And so I messaged the doorman in Spanish. I'm like, "Is this place open?" He's like, "No." And so I'm thinking to myself, I was supposed to get on a bus and go to the border, and now this place is closed. Like, what happened to all these buses that are leaving all throughout the night? So he tells me it opens up at like 5. I don't know. It's like 1 or 2 or something. And so I like squat there on the side of the wall on my phone, searching hotels around me, and I have enemy helping me too. And she's going to go to work the next day, and she's up at like 1 or 2 helping me with all this junk. But anyway, I take a long time to decide on a place to stay, or I should just go pick some place because I'm in like the middle of a foreign country, which I don't speak the same language. I should just pick a random place, but I pick some place, get one of the taxi dudes to take me there. He takes me to a totally different place, but it's still nice, whatever. The doorman spoke English, so fine. So that worked. Gonna consult my notes. So I sleep for like 2 to 4 hours, I don't know, and I wake up, have breakfast at the hotel, and then I take an Uber to the bus station, which is open at this time. And this bus station, it's like the mall, plus a health clinic and like local government offices and a bus station. It's like 3 stories and a cinema, so it's like everything. Anyway, I get a bus employee to help me find the place to sell tickets. I buy a ticket, wait for like 3 hours or something until the bus leaves. The scheduled times were not correct according to the website. So this website's just bogus, whatever. And I'm just chilling in this bus station, waiting for my bus to leave. Get on the bus. It is. I heard that buses in South America are nice. They're just like Greyhounds, I guess. No, I get on this bus at noon, I think, and I'm tired. I slept like 3 hours the night before in this Ecuadorian hotel. I get on the bus, it's dark. I'm like, yes, I thought I could sleep. We get going. No. Driver puts on this loud, obnoxious Spanish music playing. People are talking loudly. No sleep. Not really. It's a bit rough. Yeah. And while we're on the road to Huaquillas, the city in Ecuador, which is on the border of Peru and Ecuador, we pass what I think are hundreds of square miles of either banana or plantain. I mean, hundreds of square miles. Not like a mile, like square miles. Like, at first I was just like, oh, bananas and plantains. A few hours later, wow, more bananas and plantains. But it never stopped. A few hours more bananas and plantains. We go over a high point in some bridge to where we're higher than the horizon, so I can see the tops of the trees, and it just goes back for like a mile. And we're going hundreds of miles. So there are hundreds. I mean, I'm even tempted to say thousands of square miles of either these bananas or plantains. It wouldn't be a big deal, except it was so much. But it was so much more than just so much. It was incredible. Like, all the bananas or plantains in the world came from this random road I was on in Ecuador that stretched for like hundreds of miles. It was crazy. No, not hundreds of miles. Actually, no, yeah, maybe, because, I mean, yeah, hundreds of miles. It was crazy. Anyway, stepping away from the thoughts of fruit. I arrive in Huaquillas. The bus stops. I get off the bus. The bus leaves. I soon realize I'm in the wrong place. Then it occurred to me, what if this bus makes one or two stops before the final destination? Because that would happen. They would stop to let a passenger or two off. I'm like, wow, I got off the bus too early. I messed up the plan. I messaged the cop. The cop is messaging me in these short, incomplete Spanish sentence fragments, and his spelling's incorrect. So, sentence fragments and incorrect Spanish, the Spanish translator app cannot help me. So, I don't understand half of what this cop is saying. And he's like firing off these short messages, like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, copy, translate. Okay, what is he saying? Oh, there's another one. Copy, translate. And he's like, answer me. I'm like, dude, I gotta figure out what you're saying. I gotta translate all this stuff. Then I gotta write in response in English, go to the translator app, paste, get translated, Spanish, okay, copy, go to WhatsApp, paste, send. It's a process. Anyway, I finally figured out that I need to get on a taxi to meet him in the original bus stop. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And he says, we're going to do this discreetly. I'm like, what does discreetly mean? I thought, so this cop is just supposed to take me over the border. That's all I know. And it doesn't turn out that way. But anyway, so he says discreetly, I'm like, what does that mean? So I finally get to the correct bus station, and I'm standing there, and I'm just looking around like, oh, I see two cops, but they're Ecuadorian cops. I'm still in Ecuador. I'm on the border of Ecuador and Peru. I need to cross the border. And he's like, we'll be there in a few minutes. I'm like, okay. So I'm just like looking around, like just looking for anyone who looks discreet, whatever that means. And then eventually I get a message that's like, yo, two guys on a motorcycle, one of them's named Carlos or Juan or something, or Roberto, they're going to come meet you and pick you up. I'm like, okay. And so I'm chilling there for another 5 minutes, like, two guys on a motorcycle? Or like, no, I think he said one guy, somebody on a motorcycle will come and pick you up, but they're like these motorcycle taxis that have a back seat, like a big back seat. I'm like, oh, okay, it's probably one of those. No, two guys on a motorcycle. Two guys on a normal motorcycle come by and pick me up. I'm going to call them John and Bob. John's the driver, and Bob's the short Peruvian talkative dude who's super friendly and smiley. Bob hops off and he's like, Spanish, 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 Spanish. I'm like, I don't speak Spanish, bro. And so I'm like, Estas Juan, Estes Roberto, his name, and he just doesn't say sí or no, or he just keeps writing in Spanish. Then he gets out his phone and shows me a picture of me. I'm like, that's me. He's like, yeah, get on. I'm like, okay. So there are three of us. Three of us dudes on one motorcycle, and I'm a big dude. And these other dudes, I don't know, they're small dudes, especially Bob. So we're like driving around, three dudes on a motorcycle. I've got two backpacks, and Bob's got one of them, so I've got one of them. And we're driving around this city, or this little town, and we like stop and get off and like walk for a block. And the same motorcycle with John comes back and we get on it and drive it. We do this like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, why did we get off in the first place? And then finally we're driving around. We go through someone's like driveway and by their house, through their backyard. We pay someone a toll to cross their little bridge over a creek in their backyard. And we pull up on this dirt road with 2 Peruvian cops there. And we stop, and we're waiting in line. And I get out my phone and check Google Maps. We're right on the border between Ecuador and Peru. Like, we're on the border. And what it is it's just this dirt road with 2 armed Peruvian cops on their motorcycle. They're immigration control at the border. The border is just a dirt road behind someone's house, hidden behind these trees. Like it's just a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Like, wow, this is it. And one cop is searching someone's suitcase, and these these motorcycle taxis with bamboo and other stuff, and people are, coming and going from either side, and they're just waving them through. I'm like, what kind of control is this? Anyway, so we pull up. Bob gets off, and he's talking to the cop, and we're just supposed to breeze through. Well, the plan was that this cop, the one I'm supposed to meet, who I still haven't met at this point, was supposed to meet me and just drive me over the border. No, so I'm with Bob and John, who are not cops. And we pull up, and the cop's talking to Bob, and I immediately start picking up that something's wrong. Because Bob is talking, and he's showing him his phone messages, and the cop's just like wearing his helmet, sunglasses, and mask, so he's showing zero expressions, but I think he's just like got this stoic thing going on. He has a massive watch on his wrist. Emmy tells me that all the cops are corrupt. Like, you can get through anything if you pay a bribe, which is what I'm doing. Emmy said we'd have to pay the cop $100 for him to get us from Ecuador to Peru. So I'm part of the problem too, I guess, but I wanted to see my woman. Anyway, we're there. Something's wrong. Bob's talking to the dude. The cop, the actual cop, has my passport. He's looking through it, talking to Bob, and I'm like, is the cop trying to get Bob to pay him money or what? So Bob's like calling people, showing him messages, talking. We're there for like 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not sure. Eventually the cop comes, everything works out okay, and the cop comes up to me. He's like, where are you going? I say, Chiclayo. He's like, okay, go. I'm like, okay. So 3 of us get back on the motorcycle, drive across the border, where I'm officially in Peru now. I assumed that was the hardest part, over and done with. No. Anyway, so we're over the border now. And I finally meet up with the actual Peruvian cop I'm supposed to meet. Nice guy, helps me get a SIM card. We drive to the city where there's a bus station that's going to take me deeper into Peru. We get to the bus station, gets me my ticket, gets me the SIM card. That works out. What happens next? Yeah, so he tells me to stay there at the bus station because the bus will leave at like 9 at night, and I don't know what time it is. It's still daytime, but the bus isn't going to leave for like 3 or 4 hours. So I'm just supposed to stay there at this like hole in the wall long parking spot where the bus is. It is like the bus station, but really it's just like a place to put one bus. Anyway, so I'm going to consult my notes again. Yeah, so Emmy tells me to stay exactly where I'm at because she's just freaking out because I'm finally in Peru. It's just so much trouble to for me to have gotten where I am. So as of then, so she just wants me to stay put and like not introduce any more foreign variables into our situation. So I'm staying there. But I go to a restaurant to get something to eat because I'm starving, and I walk in there and I notice like pictures of hamburgers, cheeseburgers, and chicken sandwiches. I'm like, okay, like, so I get out my Spanish app. I'm like, dude, I tell him, like, just want a cheeseburger with fries. That's it. And he's like, pollo, which is the chicken. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll have a chicken sandwich. He's like, okay. And so they're cooking or whatever, taking the order. Then this waitress comes up holding like a bottle of ketchup and like something else, like mayonnaise or some other mayonnaise-based condiment. And she's like, do you want them? I'm like, sure, yes, I'll take both of them. I'm thinking I'll just get like a side of ketchup and this mayonnaise thing. But no, she puts both of them in the skillet when she's frying up my chicken sandwich, which was nasty. It was a nasty chicken sandwich. So, wanted a cheeseburger, settle for a chicken sandwich. Then when it comes, I get this chicken fried in ketchup and mayonnaise stuff with a layer of sliced ham on it. So it's just, peel the ham off and just trying to eat this thing. It was nasty. Fries, so whatever, it was food. I needed food. Wait longer. While I'm waiting for this bus to leave, more people show up, whatever. I'm talking to Enmy. She's like, I have to tell you something. Okay, what? What do you have to tell me? She's like, so when you're on this trip going from, I'm in the city of Tumbes, Peru now. I've crossed the border. I need to go from Tumbes to Chiclayo, Peru. Chiclayo is where Enmy's at, where I am currently. She's like, I have to tell you something. When you're on your way, you're going to pass through a certain part, and usually they search the buses. And that's real bad. I have entered Peru illegally. I have bribed a cop to take me into Peru. That's what's happening. I have Ecuadorian stamps in my passport. I don't have Peruvian stamps. I'm in here illegally. Currently, I'm still in this country of Peru illegally. I have illegally entered this country that I'm in right now. All right? And so I just learned, like at that night, that I am going to possibly get searched again. And I'm like, we didn't know about this. Why didn't anyone tell me about this? What are we going to do? And so this cop that I'm with, him and Emmy work it out to where we have to pay another bribe to the driver of the bus to like help me out if we get searched and if I get found and whatever. So I'm not happy about this. But eventually, we get on the bus, we are going, super uncomfortable bus. After maybe about an hour and a half or two of driving, I know the name of this place that they could possibly search the bus. And so I'm like super worried about this. I'm tracking how close we are to Google Maps. Before we get there, they like send one of there's like the driver and like 2 or 3 other dudes who are part of the bus company or whatever. And one of them comes up and gets me from my seat on the bus. And he's like, yeah, come on, hurry up. I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah, it's like midnight or 1 a.m. or something when he comes and gets me. So we turn on all the lights, it's dark, all the people are disturbed in this bus, and they come and get me and switch me with some chick to take my seat, and then they take me down to the driver's cabin and open up like this sleeping compartment behind, like literally behind the driver's seat. And they're like, get in. I'm like, okay. So I get in with my backpack. I'm like, holy crap. They are literally hiding me from these immigration officials. So we get to the place. So yeah, I'm in this rectangle compartment where the driver, like the extra driver sleeps, so the bus doesn't have to stop, whatever. First thing, and they get me in there and they close the curtains, totally dark. First thing I notice, it smells so terribly bad. It smells like terrible men's BO. Imagine if you like had a strenuous workout and you had a box. You just took your sweaty underwear and threw it in that box, and then you worked out strenuously every day for a month, took off your underwear and threw it in that same box, and then you got in that box. That's what it smelled like. It was god-awful. It was so bad. And I'm just there in this dark spot in my own private corner where no one can see me. And I'm thinking to myself, what have men done in this exact bed I'm laying in when they have privacy at like 5 a.m. in the morning? Because that's what it smelled like. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I am in a bed of like such defilement and stank. It was so disgusting. But it was the only thing I could do. Anyway, we get to this spot where the bus is going to be searched. We pull up, we stop. I hear the driver and the other dudes talking to some, like they start talking probably with one of these immigration guys. I hear the bay doors open up. So the bus is 2 levels. The bottom is like the bay doors where all the cargo and bags is. Then the upper deck is where the passengers are seated. And where I am now, because I'm right behind the driver, so I am in the same level as the bus compartments, but it's like its own separate compartment, and you can't get in unless you're inside the bus. But I'm right beside the cargo bays, so I hear the doors open up, and I hear people getting in there moving junk and stuff. So they're in those cargo bay doors for like 10 to 20 minutes. So I'm chilling in this stank-filled, dark square for like 20 to 30 minutes, hearing all these boxes and all this cargo move around me and just staying totally silent or whatever. And eventually we start moving in finally. And they open up the curtain, they're like, yeah, we're good, but stay there. Okay, I'm going to stay here for like another 10 or 20 minutes. And finally they have me get out and go back to my seat. And now the hard part's done, I think. And it actually is. And yeah, then we finally pull into Chiclayo and I meet Edmi. But it was a terrible journey. And so, yeah, then I arrived in the city I am in currently. And that's pretty much how I got here to Chiclayo. And a few days ago, Edmi told me that, because I'm leaving back to Ecuador to go back to Florida and Cincinnati, Ohio. And she's like, yeah, so the cops are increasing patrols at the border again because of drug smugglers or whatever. I'm like, oh, am I going to be trapped in Peru now? But she called the cop, and the cop says he can get me back in Ecuador. So, I mean, it's Friday now, so I plan to go back into Ecuador Monday morning. So we'll see.